Welcome back to Beyond the Battlefield. We have walked with Arjuna through the storm of Chapter 2, his despair, his questions, Krishna's revelations about the eternal soul, about equanimity, about wisdom beyond pain and pleasure. And now, we stand at the gateway of Chapter 3. This chapter is called Karma Yoga, the path of action. But the doorway does not open with clarity. It opens with confusion. It begins with a restless question, one that Arjuna cannot let go of. And perhaps it is a question that echoes inside each of us. Arjuna looks at Krishna and says, "If knowledge is higher, if wisdom is supreme, then why ask me to fight? Why push me into this terrible action?"
Yes, his words are,
If knowledge is considered by you to be superior to action, then why do you engage me in this terrible duty?
so he says, Krishna, if wisdom is supreme, why do you command me to fight? Why throw me into this ocean of blood and destruction? At first, it seems like a genuine question, but it's not pure curiosity. It's a subtle escape. Arjuna is afraid, but he won't admit fear. So instead, he hides behind logic, behind philosophy. If knowledge is supreme, then why act at all? And don't we all do this? We rarely say, I'm scared. Instead, we say, I'm still thinking, I'm analyzing, I'm waiting for the right moment. But really, we're just rationalizing inaction.
Absolutely. I've seen this in leaders too. Endless strategy decks, countless review meetings, slide after slide of analysis. It looks like wisdom, but underneath, it's hesitation in disguise. It's the same dilemma Arjuna is caught in.
Exactly. Krishna had spoken about the glory of knowledge in chapter 2. Now Arjuna uses that as a shield to avoid responsibility. But here's the key. Knowledge and action are not enemies. They are complementary. Some people are more inward by nature. For them, knowledge is the path. Some are outward by nature. For them, action is the path. The contradiction isn't in Krishna's teaching. It's in our restless minds that want an escape.
So you're saying knowledge and action aren't really contradictory. It just depends on the seeker's nature?
Yes, that's the beauty. The introvert seeks truth through silence and contemplation. The extrovert finds it in service, in action, in engagement with the world. Both paths lead to the same summit. One calls it completeness, the other calls it emptiness. Different languages, same destination.
That also explains why Krishna doesn't see a contradiction in praising both. But Arjuna, caught in his fear, interprets it as mixed messaging. And honestly, how often do we do the same? We hear advice, but instead of applying it, we twist it into another reason to delay.
Yes, and here lies the leadership lesson. Knowledge without action becomes inertia. Action without knowledge becomes chaos. True leadership is when wisdom guides action and action grounds wisdom. But the danger is real. We can use knowledge talk as an elegant excuse to avoid responsibility.
And that brings the reflection back to us. Where in our lives are we using knowledge as a mask, when in truth, we're just afraid to act?
Exactly. That's the question Arjuna forces us to face. And maybe the first step of Karma Yoga is simply this: to see our excuses clearly. Because until we drop them, we can't move forward.
But Arjuna doesn't stop there. His confusion deepens. And now he even accuses Krishna of something. He says, "You are confusing me."
Let's hear his words. Arjuna says,
Your words appear contradictory. You seem to bewilder my understanding. Therefore, tell me clearly the one path by which I may attain the highest good.
so what does he mean by this is Krishna? Your words sound mixed, like they contradict each other. One moment you praise wisdom, the next you command action. You are confusing me. Enough of this. Tell me one clear path, the one certain way to liberation. Notice Arjuna's state of mind here. He is not only confused, he is irritated. He says, Krishna, you are bewildering me. But Osho reminds us the contradiction is not in Krishna's teaching. It's in Arjuna's restless mind. Krishna is giving a multi-dimensional truth. Arjuna wants a black and white answer. Why? Because he wants escape, not clarity. And isn't that so human? When life feels complex, we demand, just tell me the one right thing. But truth is rarely that simple.
So Arjuna is asking for certainty. He doesn't want options. He doesn't want paradox. He wants Krishna to just choose one path for him.
Exactly. But life doesn't work like that. Some people are inward by temperament. Knowledge, contemplation, silence is their way. Others are outward. They find truth in work, in service, in engagement. Both paths are valid. Both reach the summit. One calls it completeness. The other calls it emptiness. Krishna is not contradicting himself. He is offering different keys to different doors. But Arjuna, overwhelmed, afraid, just wants a shortcut. Tell me only one.
And this happens in leadership too, doesn't it? Leaders say, should I cut costs or invest in growth? Tell me the one right answer. But the reality is, both can be right, depending on the timing. Life isn't simple formulas, it's paradox.
Yes, the weak leader demands certainty. The wise leader learns to live in ambiguity. Krishna is preparing Arjuna and us for that maturity. To embrace complexity instead of running from it.
And so the real question for us becomes, where in our lives are we demanding a neat, black and white answer, when truth might actually require us to hold paradox?
That is Arjuna's lesson in verse 3.2. Certainty feels safe, but wisdom grows only when we learn to live with the dance of opposites. Krishna will soon reveal why action, karma yoga, is inescapable. But first, he allows Arjuna's restlessness to surface completely.
And now, Krishna begins his reply. And what he says opens a profound doorway.
Let's hear his words. Krishna says,
O sinless one, from ancient times I have declared two paths in this world. The path of knowledge for the contemplative and the path of action for those engaged in life.
Two paths. Knowledge for the inward seeker, action for the outward seeker. But Ankur, I noticed two very striking things in Krishna's words. First, he calls Arjuna sinless one. And second, he says, I have told this before.
yes, both are crucial. First, sinless one. Arjuna is full of doubt, hesitation, even fear. But Krishna addresses him as pure-hearted, sinless, to remind him, doubt doesn't make you fallen. Confusion doesn't make you corrupt. If your intention is sincere, you are still worthy. Krishna is encouraging Arjuna. Your questions don't stain you. They are part of your growth.
That's powerful. So often when we struggle with uncertainty, we label ourselves as weak, even guilty. But Krishna reminds Arjuna, sincerity matters more than clarity.
Exactly. Now, the second phrase, I have told this before. On the surface, it sounds like Krishna is saying, have you taught this in the past? But here lies the mystery. The Krishna standing before Arjuna was born just decades ago. So how could he personally have taught this from ancient times? This is where the essence of the capital I comes in. Krishna is not speaking as a limited man. He is speaking as the eternal consciousness that flows through awakened beings. The big I is not personal ego, it is timeless truth.
So the I here isn't Krishna the person, it's Krishna the eternal voice of existence.
Exactly. When the ego dissolves, the voice of the eternal speaks. That's why the same truth comes again and again. Through Krishna, through Buddha, through Christ, through sages everywhere. It's the same, I speaking in many forms. So when Krishna says, I have told this before, he is reminding Arjun, this is not a new invention, not a passing idea. These two paths are eternal. The truth has always been guiding humanity.
And that makes me think of leadership too. When leaders speak from their little I, ego, position, ambition, their words don't last. But when they speak from the big I, timeless principles like justice, service, compassion, their words carry authority beyond their role.
Exactly. The small I may command obedience, but the big I inspires transformation. That's why Gandhi's words, or Mandela's, or Lincoln's, they still echo today. Because they spoke from that deeper place. Krishna is doing the same here, reminding Arjuna that he is not just hearing advice from a friend, but from the eternal voice of Dharma itself.
So the question for us is, where in our lives do we speak from the small I, the ego? And where do we allow the big I, the timeless truth, to speak through us?
That is the essence of verse 3.3. Two paths, equally valid, for two kinds of seekers. A reminder that sincerity keeps us pure, even in doubt. And above all, the capital I, the voice of truth that never dies.
So in verse 3.3, Krishna finally answers Arjuna's complaint. There is not one single formula, but two valid paths. Knowledge for some, action for others. And yet, he hasn't told Arjuna which one he must follow.
Yes, and that pause is deliberate. Krishna isn't rushing to give Arjuna a prescription. He's laying the foundation. By declaring two valid paths, Krishna shows Arjuna that life cannot be reduced to a single road. There are contemplatives, thinkers, sages. For them, knowledge itself becomes liberation. And there are doers, servers, warriors. For them, action becomes the doorway to freedom. Arjuna wants a shortcut. Tell me one, give me certainty. But Krishna wants him to first see the bigger truth, that multiple doorways exist. Only then can he understand why his doorway in this moment must be action.
And that's so relevant even today. In organizations, some people lead through ideas and strategy, the thinkers. Others lead through execution and engagement, the doers. If we privilege only one style, the system collapses. Both are needed, both are valid. But just as Arjuna must discover, in a crisis, one path becomes unavoidable.
Exactly. Krishna has cleared the fog of contradiction, but Arjuna still doesn't know which path he must take. That answer is the turning point, and it's about to unfold. Because Arjuna doesn't need more philosophy, he needs direction. And soon Krishna will reveal why action, karma yoga, is inescapable.
So stay with us. Because what Krishna reveals next is not just a lesson for Arjuna on the battlefield. It is a lesson for anyone who has ever stood frozen between knowing and doing. That's where we'll go in the next episode of Beyond the Battlefield. And if you need more clarity, check out our exclusive GPT companion link in the description. BYB Interactive.